Hello, friends. It's a gift and a privilege to be with Reverend Dr. Lolly Dominski in a short Zoom interview today. As you know, she has recently started as our Parish Associate here at First Pres Wilmette, and we're so thrilled with her willingness to partner in ministry with us in this way and for this new role she's serving in. I'm just going to ask Lolly a few questions so you as a congregation can get to know her a bit better at First Festival, which is coming up on Sunday, September 11th, parking lot here, worship and bluegrass band and lunch. At that service, we're going to be more formally, officially welcoming Lolly. So I hope you'll be there that day as she joins us and have a chance to greet her in person if you haven't done so yet. So welcome, Lolly.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you for hopping on Zoom for a few minutes. So Lolly, just tell us a bit about yourself, your family, how long you've lived in the area.
Sure. I grew up in South Central Virginia in the town of Lynchburg, Virginia, went to college in North Carolina, and then came to Chicago to go to graduate school. And I met my husband there. So Matt and I have been married for 43 years now, and we have 4 children who are each in their 30s. Our oldest, Matthew, lives in Oak Park as a computer programmer. Our daughter, Melanie, is married to Yasmin from Bosnia, and they have 3 beautiful children. Our daughter, Emily, is married to yet another Matt, and they live in Wicker Park and have just had their first child, a daughter, about 10 days ago. And our youngest, Michael, lives in New York and is just about to switch jobs. He has been working at CNN and is switching to work for a company known as The Athletic, which is a subscription sports reporting service.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, which is terrific. So I've been here in Chicago, I guess, since 1979. Matt and I were in Evanston for about a year, lived in Wilmette for 9 years, and have been in Winnetka now for 32 years. It's hard to believe.
Oh, we're so grateful. I know our story is your story, our church's story, my story, have intersected at different junctures in recent years, but most relevantly for this interview, I know you served here as an interim associate pastor, if I have that right, in the early 2000s.
Yes, that's right. Ministry is a second career for me. When I began having children, I was still working part-time and then stayed home. I had worked for an advertising agency and advertising research, and then for Quaker Oats and brand management. But when I started to stay home with my children, I got involved in a number of volunteer activities, including my own church, Winnetka Presbyterian Church, and eventually felt the call to ministry and went to McCormick. Since that time, I served as a pastor at Good News Partners, which I know First Pres Wilmette has supported in the past and maybe still does. And then I've served at several churches in the area, one of which was First Presbyterian Wilmette. I think that was in something like 2002, just about 20 years ago.
Well, thank you for filling in some of those pieces for us. I know recently you've also pursued your doctorate and now graduated from Garrett Seminary with your PhD. Do I have that right? In early Christian worship?
Well, actually, it's just in liturgical studies. And
thank you to go get your PhD at that juncture.
I've always been someone who loves school. My whole family teases me about it. And I've thought of getting a PhD a number of times actually in my life, and decided to pursue that after having worked in the church for a few years. I spent most of my electives when I was in seminary at McCormick on biblical studies. I did a lot of scripture study. I love scripture. But I also love worship. And as I started to serve in different churches and see different customs and practices in worship, I just had a lot of questions and a lot of interest. And getting the PhD was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too. And I learned so much. and came to an even deeper appreciation of worship and our celebration of our sacraments. So I was very fortunate to be able to do that and enjoyed it very much. And I'm excited to be able to participate in helping to compose and lead worship at First Pres Wilmette.
As are we, Lolly. We sure are. I know your role here as Parish Associate will focus on congregational care, some pastoral care, hopefully also some leading of worship and some teaching here and there, some writing of liturgy, as I know we've discussed already. But tell us a bit more about your approach to ministry. What gives you most energy? Where you find, I know Frederick Buechner, amazing Presbyterian minister and author, has recently passed away just 2 weeks ago, and it makes me think of his great line about God's calling is where the world's deep hunger and our deep gladness meet. And just wonder what you would say about your call to ministry or your sense of ministry today, and then church in particular.
Well, I guess what I would say is that one of the things that I have loved about being a pastor is that it's such a multifaceted responsibility. There are just so many different things that you're involved with. And I love being involved in worship and Bible study, but perhaps most of all, I just feel really blessed by the fact that as a pastor, you often get to share people's most sacred moments in their lives. And it's such a blessing to be let into that world and to be able to share with people about what's really important in their lives right now and what's happening and where we see God at work in that. Once we start looking, we see God at work everywhere. And it's just such a wonderful blessing to me to be able to talk to other people about that. So I couldn't be happier than to be able to be involved in congregational care at First Pres Wilmette. There are still many people in the congregation that I know, but then there's many people I don't. And what a joy to be able to reconnect with some people I've known from long ago and catch up on their lives and let them catch up on mine, and then to meet new people and be a part of the thriving ministry that's going on. I'm very admiring of what's happening, the church life and ministry at FPCW, and I'm excited to be part of that and to support it and to see where God leads us. It is a new world now since March 2020, and the church is different now and ministry is different now. God is doing a new thing, and we can't quite see it yet, but I'm excited to see where God's going to take us and take this church in particular. It's important. As we all know, the world has never needed the good news more than it does right now.
Right. Amen. It's so true. Finally, one last question, Lolly. How can we be praying for you in this season?
Well, that's so kind. I would ask for prayers for my family, my children, my husband, and then just, I guess, prayers for me as I walk with you all and see where God is calling all of us.
We will lift that prayer up as you will for us. I know, Lolly, and it's just such a gift to be partnering more directly in ministry, and I very much look forward to whatever unfolds as the Spirit leads us.
Me too. Me too.
Peace to you, Lolly. We'll see you, if not before, First Festival, and hopefully a lot of folks can join us from the church as well.
I'm looking forward to it. And again, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Lolly. Peace.